Your move, your move.
What's up guys, it's Argostars here and welcome to another amazing video on the channel. So for today I'm hitting you up with the beginner's guide to the Argostar deck. This is going to be explaining the combos the deck has available to it as of right now, which is the 2nd of July when I'm recording this, and a little bit of what I hope the future support cards will be able to provide with the deck. If you are new around here, or you've seen my beautiful face before, consider subscribing as we are on the road to 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Leave a like, leave a comment down below. What is your favorite Argostar card? My favorite Argostar card is Home Stadium, just because I really like how, yes, they made a field spell that doesn't grab from deck, but it's so versatile. The fact that it isn't a once per turn on the negates, the fact it isn't a once per turn on the paying 1,000 to grab a card, the fact it isn't once per turn on the fact that it can burn your opponent as well. I just think it's a fantastic card. If it was in any other deck, I think it would be broken. Since it's an Argostars, I think it works very well with the mechanics. So, yeah. What is your favorite Argostar card? Make sure you comment down below. Make sure you enter this month's giveaway. It should be the first video uploaded of this month. There's always a giveaway, so make sure you do get involved. It takes about 5 seconds to enter, so you might as well. We got an LOB box up for grabs. Make sure you enter, and I'll see you all in combo number 1. Okay, so for combo number 1, we're starting off with a 1.5 card combo because Argostars sadly don't have a true 1 card combo. By 1.5 combo, I mean you need to have a card to discard. So if you only open the Adra, this wouldn't work and you'd just be able to set or place traps and then you'd have to pass, which is really sad. But we want a combo, so this is how you do it. Stuff like Full Loss is really good in this deck because if you control cards you cannot use Full Loss, this is exclusively going second card most of the time. But in decks like Argostars or decks that can fuel discards, you can just discard the Mulch Armies and they work really, really good. So we're going to normal summon the Adra as the first part of our combo. This is actually a mandatory effect, I believe. Activates when it's summoned, and it basically means that our opponent cannot respond to the activation or effects of our continuous traps. This is cool. I just wish we had the option to not activate it. Stuff like Ghost Ogre can be chained to this, meaning it will destroy the Adra, and now we can't use Adra's second effect, which is the one we really want. But if that resolves, we don't have to worry about Ash Blossoms later on, which is nice. Now what we can do is use Adra's second effect, banish itself, and place 2 Argostar continuous traps from our deck face up onto the field. Now what does this accomplish? Well, this actually allows us to get the Lightning Teardew, which actually is able to generate a body onto the field, which then can extend to multiple bodies. How so? Well, we're going to use Lightning Teardew, we're going to summon, we're going to pitch a card from our hand, in this case the Full Loss, and we're going to resolve its search effect. This allows us to search for the Giant Slaying. Now what we can do is we can immediately use Giant Slaying. It doesn't matter here. If they chain Droll, for example, you just chain Giant Slaying. So we don't lose to Droll in this combo. Grab the Fierce Path. And now actually what we're going to do is we're actually just going to use the additional normal provided by Giant Slaying. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to overlay the Xyz. We're going to pretend I have it. I ordered some Starlight Rares. They haven't arrived yet. But what the Xyz does is, I think it has to actually be over the Lightning Teardew, is it allows us to use a Argostar continuous trap. It could just be any Argostar, but for the sake of the combo, I'm just going to use the continuous trap as the whole summon for its Xyz summon. And on summon, it's going to be able to grab us a Argostar spell. It has a second effect, which is if we summon it properly, for example, using these 2, which takes 2 level 4s. During the standby phase, you can detach 2 materials and place 3 continuous traps from our graveyard face up in our spell and trap zone. But we didn't summon it properly because for this combo, we need the 2 bodies. So we're going to summon that, resolve the search, grab the Home Stadium, and now what we're going to do is we're going to link away. And we're actually going to go for the Silhouette Rabbit. Now, the cool thing about Silhouette Rabbit is that it works super, super well with the Argostar cards because you can set any of the continuous ones because they can summon themselves, but you can also set generic ones, which is what we'll be doing in this combo. We'll use Silhouette Rabbit effect. We're actually just going to set the Silhouette Trick because I really like this card, and we're going to set it to the field. Now what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Home Stadium, and this is just going to allow us to grab any free Argostar card from our graveyard or banish back to the hand. If we had another card in hand, 100% grab the Lightning Teardew, because this will actually be another negate, which I'll show a bit later on. But for this case, we're going to grab the Giant Slaying back to the hand. Now what we can do is we can set Giant Slaying, and now we can pass our turn. You may think, wow, that is like super lackluster. It is Argostars, guys, and this is a 1.5 card combo. I understand this isn't explosive by any means, but you got to understand, this is a control and tempo deck. What does that mean? Turn 1, you just want to do enough so that you don't die and you can establish your resource loop. What do I mean by resource loop? Let me show you. You go to your opponent's turn. Now, remember, when they activate anything, we have the Silhouette Trick, which can negate up to 2 cards on the field. So ideally, we want to save that when they have 2 cards. But something cool that we can do is, let's say, for example, they activate a field spell, for example, and we kind of really want to pop that. What we can do is we can activate the Slayer Ezio to summon itself, bounce a card on the field, and then we have the rabbit effect to MST a back row as well. So that's 2 interruptions already. We have the Slayer Ezio, which is a summon bounce, and I don't believe it targets either. It does not target either. It returns 1 card from the field to the hand. It can return your own stuff as well. There's some scenarios where they're going to destroy something important, bounce it back to your hand. But in this case, you have a bounce, and the Silhouette Rabbit will trigger on a new chain to MST something, which is also a really handy effect against stuff like field spells, for example. Field spells that don't activate, but you place them and then they have an effect. Silhouette Rabbit just eats them up for days. I love Silhouette Rabbit for that. Now what you want to do is, if they activate any other card, what you can do is you can activate the Slayer Ezio to put itself back into the spell and trap zone, and actually chain the home stadium, because every time a continuous trap monster is activated in the monster zone, you can chain this card and negate 1 face-up card on the field. That's exactly what we're going to do. So we'll chain this, put it back, negate. And our opponent's also being burnt for 500, by the way, because we've summoned a continuous trap. And if they continue playing off that, we still have the Silhouettrix that can summon itself and negate 2 more cards as well, which is super crucial. The reason I like the Silhouettrix is because it's a level 4 that cannot be destroyed by battle. Meaning during our next turn, we also have this for a search, by the way, so we can just grab back another Adra, for example. So during our turn, let's just not have a draw because we don't really need it. We have a level 4 that if we get any level 4, we can then just commit into any Xyz play, which is something I really, really like. Now, this is really good damage. So we've stunned our opponent. They've taken 1,000 burn from the home stadium. How can we actually push for game, or if not, a lot of damage with this hand? Well, something we can do, which is actually really cool, is we can activate home stadium, and then we can pick up the path back from the graveyard to our hand, which I really, really like, because this allows us to push for a lot of damage. Now, something we can do is we can normal summon the Adra, and then we can flip this to attack. Now, something cool that we can do now is we can go into the battle phase. And now in the battle phase, keep in mind they've taken 1,000. We have 1,500 here, so that's 2,500. And then we have another 1,005 here, so that's 4K. Now they have 1,800 here, which is now 5,800. And now we activate the Fierce Path, bouncing the Slayer Ezio, summon itself, and we can also attack with this, which now puts them, so they took 5K, 6,400 now. So that's quite a lot of damage. But now keep in mind that we can also have the burn live. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is so you guys can see that this is a very cool tempo deck, and it's kind of really important that we play it as such, because now in the main phase 2, we can easily just overlay these guys. We didn't even use the Adra effect, but we could have, by the way. Maybe that made the difference, and summon a Time Thief Redoer. This is important because now, not only do we have a bounce established, because we have a trap, but it will banish itself and attach cards from our opponent's top deck to itself. And we have the Slayer Ezio again to burn for another 5. And that also translates into another negate. Now what we can do here is we can use the Adra, and we can place the Teodu and Swift Capane face up like this. And now what we can do, if we rob a spell, for example, off the Redoer we can use it, draw a card, and then this is game. Because if we... let's just imagine we have a spell, which is pretty likely. There's lots of decks that play spells. That gives us the draw. Remember, we'll also have 1 card in hand still anyway from our draw. So now during our opponent's turn, what we can do is we can actually just summon Teodu, summon Swift Capane, and then summon the Slayer Ezio and just burn them for the rest of the damage, which is something I really, really like about this deck. Keeping in mind that I had the card in hand before, what we could have probably done in the battle phase is just use the Adras, put these 2 into the spell and trap zone, and then just gone for game that way, which is something as well that we should have probably realized, but I was playing without the draw. So you can easily OTK if you manage to stun your opponent and then just place them back into the spell and trap zone again, which is really, really crucial. That is sort of how Argostars play. I'm going to showcase you one more combo, because remember, this is for beginners. I just want to be showcasing you how the deck works. But now let's go on in how we can actually get 2 Xyzs on the board and then go into the rabbit that way. Okay, so for combo number 2, I'm going to be showcasing you how exactly we can just get a bunch of bodies onto the board and then do Xyz and link plays. So we're going to normal summon the Adra. Adra effect will activate. Our opponent will be able to respond to our continuous traps or effects. We'll activate Adra, which is the important effect. Banishes itself for cost. We're going to be placing the Teodu and the Swift Capane this time because we need the extra body. Now we're going to be using the Lightning Teodu effect. Summon itself by pitching the Fualos, and we're actually just going to be searching for the Giant Slaying. Now from here, we can actually activate the Giant Slaying and say they change role. We change Giant Slaying, we add Fierce Path, and we normal Fierce Path. Remember that Giant Slaying also has an effect in the grave that we can banish it, target a Argostar continuous trap that I control, and a card on the field that our opponent controls, and then return them to the hand, which is actually really cool extra disruption that they gave to the Rota card, which I really like. Now from here, activate Swift Capane, since we have a monster in the main monster zone that's a continuous trap. From here, what we can do is we can overlay these two and go straight into a Dugaris. But before that, we're going to summon the Xyz, and we're actually going to search the home stadium. Now from here, we can do Dugaris, draw 2. I'm not going to mimic what this could be. So we're just going to have 2 random cards, pitch 1, for example. So one's in the grave, in this case it's the Teodu. And now from here, we can activate the home stadium. Home stadium is going to actually grab us back the Swift Capane because we need it for negation. And now from here, what we can do is link all of these guys away and go straight into the rabbit. Now the rabbit is going to activate, and we're going to set the Slayer Yugioh directly from the deck. So now what we've done is we've replaced the 1 card in our hand that we discarded, and we've actually added back the Swift Capane. Again, you may think this isn't actually a lot, but let me show you how it is. So during our opponent's turn, whenever they do something we don't like, we're going to be summoning the Yugioh by chaining it, summoning itself, and then bouncing 1 card on the field. This is going to be triggering the Silhouette Rabbit to MST a card on the field, and we can actually chain block this effect with the home stadium to inflict burn to them, since we did summon a continuous trap. Now from here, any point as well, we can activate the Swift Capane whenever we want to gain 500 life and burn our opponent for another 500. That isn't the relevant effect. The reason we do Swift Capane is because remember what I showed you about home stadium? You can now chain these at any point and turn these into 2 negates, just not in the same chain, because it is once per chain. So opponent activates something, chain Swift Capane, which will trigger the home stadium, negate. They activate something else, chain Slayer Yugioh, and that triggers the home stadium to negate. So that's really, really cool. And of course, during our turn, we'll have another card in hand. And then we can use the home stadium to grab back the Adra. And then we can just normal summon it and do it again. So from here, what can we do? Well, we can just place the Lightning Teodu. And we can also place another probably Swift Capane, just because why not? And then this is so much damage, guys. You have no idea. This is crazy amounts of damage because I've already burnt our opponent for 1,000. Now we're going to actually be able to burn them for another 1,000. And then we're going to be able to just continue playing. So we do Lightning Teodu effect. We pitch a random card in our hand. We summon. We burn. We probably search. What do we grab? We probably grab the Giant Slaying just because we want to push damage on the board. Then we can activate the Giant Slaying. Search for an Adra. Summon the Adra. Like this. And now what do we have here? So we burnt them for 1,500. This is 3k. This is 5k. This is 6-8. Then we can just summon Swift Capane, burn them for another 5, and then attack with the Swift Capane as well, which has 1,800 attack as well. So keep that in mind. So this is more than enough for the OTK, and then we can always convert them back into more. In this case, what we'll do is we can always convert them back into more negation. Probably just put back the Lightning Teodu and then make from here. If we don't OTK them for some reason, you can always just make a Baguska, or you can even make a Time Thief Redoer and have more disruptions that way. So I hope I did a good job in showcasing you or introducing you to Argostars. I really hope Konami give this deck a little bit more support because I think it's close. I think the Xyz was a great addition. I think the Continuous Spell and the Path were good additions, more the Continuous Spell than Path, to be honest with you, because Path is a good card, but it's a one-of at the moment, so we don't really want Path that much in our hand, which is why I play 1 copy, which I can't find at the moment. Oh, here it is, Path. So these are like wave 2 cards. Wave 2 support is nice. The XCs are super nice. This is the Wave 3 support. I'm kind of hoping they give us a bit more cards. We only have 3 continuous traps as of right now. And Slayer Ezio's good, Teodu's good. Swift Capane isn't great to gain 5, but obviously if you pair it with the home stadium, it is a negation as well. So I think the deck is close, guys. I think the deck is actually really super interesting playstyle. I think it's super fun. And I really hope Konami give the extra little push that it needs. So I hope I did a good job introducing you to Argostars. And I'll see you all in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!